Hi, my name is Doug Guthrie. I'm here on the Tokyo module with the Berlin School of Creative Leadership, and we're fortunate to have a few minutes with Professor Takeuchi from Hitotsubashi University. Thank you for having us in Tokyo. I mean, it's we're so thankful for all of for the great hospitality we've been getting while we're here. How do you think of creative leadership? Like, what does it mean to you in the context of the kind of research that you've done and in the context of Japan?
Okay. Innovation, innovation, innovation. And in the case of Toyota, you'll find two types of innovation. One, which is a continuous improvement, the Kaizen movement, right?
Now, I'm sorry to interrupt, but did Kaizen actually, did I understand you correctly in the lecture that actually began at Toyota?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Taiichi Ono was the father of the movement.
Okay.
And he came up with the Toyota production system, which basically, there's never satisfied. There's got to be a better way.
Right.
Right. But that's continuous. What we have found in recent years is that Toyota does another kind of innovation, which is they jump at times, which the company had not done for the first 50 years or so. They were all kind of like a tortoise, very slow but always continuous. But you see Toyota with the Lexus, a big jump.
Sort of like what Stephen Jay Gould might call a punctuated equilibrium.
Right, that's a good one, yeah.
Interesting.
Or with the Prius, a big jump.
Okay.
And what we are seeing in the last 20 years or so, the capability of leaping forward. And here, it's kind of different from the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
And what intrigued us was how can they do both? So that was kind of the research question that we went into, saying how can they kind of do the everyday thing and then boom, what's the answer there? And then we found out that, in fact, Toyota is full of contradictions, and they thrive on contradictions. So behind innovation, innovation, innovation is contradictions all over the place.
Yeah.
And so, in terms of the dialectics, you have the thesis and antithesis. And in Toyota, you ought to have 3 or 4 of these antitheses, right? But you try to find an out haven, and it's got to be not somewhere a compromise in between, but higher order resolution.
Okay.
So they're looking for not a balance, not somewhere in between, not a compromise between the thesis and the antithesis, but a jump.
Yeah.
And that can only come when dealing with paradox, with contradictions, is a way of life. And we found out that was kind of the very essential quality of what makes your Toyota innovative, both on the incremental side and on this leap thing. What Toyota tried to do with the Toyota production system is to have people on the floor be owners. So in the famous pulling of the Andon cord, you can stop the assembly line. Anybody can, right? And they encourage people to stop the production line pulling the Andon cord, right? Whenever they see something wrong. So any error should be depicted immediately and dealt with. And one of the key values in Toyota is honesty. In order for people to be able to do this, you really have to be honest. You have to say, I saw a problem. I saw an error. So you can't let go of those malfunctions.
Right.
You have to be very honest and say, problem, pull the cord. Toyota, in a sense, is a machine. The information processing metaphor comes from Simon, and they, certainly have that quality for sure, because anything that they do is quantified, but they don't see the organization in that perspective, but they see it more as they see their company more as a green tomato, always growing, always incomplete. And the green tomato metaphor is very human, right? And it's probably an epitome of human creativity, because once you become a red tomato, right, you're
right.
kind of
you're ripe and ready to fall off the vine.
Right. And so the metaphor itself kind of shows how Toyota sees their organization. They want to be intentionally incomplete.
Okay.
In fact, the working title of our book until the very end was The Incomplete Company. I think it was a good role model for the industrial society, and Toyota production system probably epitomizes what Toyota was able to do as an industrial organization. And when the society moved from the industrial society to the knowledge society, the key means of production became the head and hand of every employee. So the humans became the center. And in the industrial society, machines were in the center. And when you shift here, then it's not so much the hard power, but it's the soft power. And this is where people started getting into more of the software part, not so much software a la computer, but software in terms of where feelings and trusting relationships, those things become very important. So in dealing with customers, for example, Japan probably now is the leading place for not only soft power, but smart power. And they're trying to combine both soft and smart to make purchasing, to make living more enjoyable. And that, I think, is driving innovation in Japan these days. Yeah. In addition to, the important thing about Toyota is they have both the hard power as well as the soft power. Yeah. And I think you need both. Nintendo, the same thing. Okuda, the CEO in the 90s, said when Thailand faced 4 years of red ink, says, cut all costs, but don't touch people. Huh. And that's, I think they're going to stick to that because people, the knowledge resides in an individual, in people. So cutting people means cutting knowledge. So what was interesting is the tundra plants in the U.S. had to be closed for 3 months. This was last August. And what they did was told 3,000 people, you're going to be retrained. And we're going to train you to manufacturing smaller cars, the Prius actually, not the Tundra. Mm-hmm. So they spent the 3 months not laying off these people, but retraining. And so they're going to bite the bullet as much as they can. And the last thing they're going to do is lay people off. Right. And I think that's part of their DNA. So when you hear that Toyota is laying off regular employees, not part-time employees, you know that the situation is
It's
very
dire.
serious. It's dire. The next generation belongs to MDAs, not MBAs.
Okay.
Master of Design Administration.
Very nice. Interesting.
And we have a course in our MBA program called Design and Creativity.
Uh-huh.
We have an ex-landor chief designer teach our students, not the concepts, but they kind of use their hands
Yeah.
to find out what design and creativity is all about. And this is, out-of-box thinking.
Right.
You can't teach out-of-box mentality in the typical MBA program.
Right.
Cases, yes, to a certain extent, but doing these things shows people, oh my God, you can do these things, out of box, frame breaking.
Yeah.
So I think when you think of the importance of innovation, which will increase, the importance of this out-of-box mentality, frame-breaking mentality, then design, creativity, these things become the tools to teach them how to achieve that.
Right.
So I'm a big believer